This is Phoenix from Nova Scotia Car Shows. We are here today with Woody and Winnie from Winnieslist. We are here to check out their cool office before we go and check out their cars.
Cool. So let's go check out the office. So this is a good place to hang out in the wintertime when, the weather's bad and the cars are put away and you wait till spring. So just some things we've collected over the years and going to car shows from one side of the country to the other. So have a little setup in here that keeps me busy. And Ratfink keeps me company in the wintertime. So in this wall, some things that the Camaro and the Nomad got put into. So we've got magazine articles and calendars and different advertising pieces from companies like QA1 and CompCam, Napa, even Goodmark. So, and then a couple articles on the Nomad since we finished it.
Yeah, that's very cool.
And then in the back corner, some photos, and these are the celebrities that I've had the opportunity to work with over the years. So I've been very fortunate to be able to work with both our big shows out here, both Speed Sport and the Atlantic Nationals. And part and parcel of that is it's given me the opportunity to meet some very interesting people along the way.
I need to ask you what's with all these photos.
Okay, so these are photos taken as you enter the park for the Atlantic Nationals.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's one of those things, you get the first one and then you have to have one every year.
Yeah.
It becomes a collection.
Yeah.
So we've just gone through and ran through all the years that we've actually made it to the show. There's a few holes where, being retired military, we were out of the area for a few years and we didn't make it back in time, but we try and keep them. Yeah.
That's cool. So what's the story behind this sign?
That was actually a gift when we were in Ottawa from neighbors of ours. We took care of their place and they were down in Mexico.
Oh,
And
that's
apparently
cool.
they saw that at a market in Mexico and figured that would be the perfect gift
Yeah,
to bring back as a thank you for taking care of their place.
that's cool. So you got all your racing flags here.
Yeah, it's just all the colors of the flags. We found that
Yeah.
actually, I can't remember where we found that one, but yeah. So, and then of course just collection of different things as you pick stuff up as you go.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So how long did it take you to acquire all these?
This has been a lifetime in the making. So
Really?
yeah, I've always been into cars growing up. Friend of mine and I think we built our first dune buggy when we were 14 years old.
Oh, really?
In school.
That's cool.
And just kind of never went back from there. So you just pick things up as you go, and then people drop stuff off. And yeah, so it's, for some people it's a hobby. For me, it's more of a lifestyle. So it
Yeah.
always has been. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So these are all your car books then?
Yeah, mostly car books, couple other books in there for some different things, but it's just
Yeah.
good reference materials.
Yeah, that's
I always
cool.
keep some of the old stuff because things come around again, and
Yeah.
it's kind of neat. I've got a bunch of old magazine articles that I remember reading as a kid, and
Very cool.
it's kind of neat because with some of my cars now being in magazines, I always think back of being the kid thumbing through a magazine, looking at some of the cool cars, thinking, wow, it'd be nice to have one of those cars one day.
Yeah.
And then it's the realization of some kid somewhere is out there thumbing through a magazine, looking at my cars now, doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's very cool. You got a very cool shop.
Thank you.
We've moved out to Woody's garage and we're going to take a look at what we can find out here. I'll hand the microphone over to Woody and see what he can tell us.
Yeah, so here's just some more stuff that we've collected over the years, and most hot rod guys will have a bunch of stuff somewhere stored away, or hung up. So just a cool spot to hang out. And
Yeah.
again, it is that time of year, being fall, when we're doing this video, so most of the cars are being put away and stored for the winter because we don't live in Florida.
Yeah.
So this is a cool collection. These are all the show stickers from the Atlantic Nationals up on the wall since the very first show in 2001.
So just all the Atlantic Nationals.
Yeah, so these are just all the Atlantic Nationals from every year.
You got quite a collection.
So, and usually a lot of the stuff, it's random things, but a lot of the things do have some meaning. So
Yeah.
again, with all the license plates, because us car guys, for whatever reason, we like collecting license plates.
Yeah.
But with in here, you'll notice every license plate is someplace I've been.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, and there's still a few from overseas that I am still in the process of trying to track down. So
really?
they're a little harder to find and find in North America, but
Yeah.
they'll get added to the collection someday.
Yeah. So let's take a look at your Camaro.
Okay, the big red machine.
Yeah.
So yeah, 1967. It was originally a 6-cylinder car, blue with a black vinyl top.
Really?
3-speed. Yeah. So there's been some changes done to it.
Yeah.
So everything we do with the cars, I like to hot rod them, but I try and keep a period correct feel to them.
Yeah, that's what I like too.
Yeah, I just find it doesn't get dated like
Yeah.
some of the things you see out there. Not to say it's not cool, but it always goes back to, it fits the year and the idea of what the car wants to be.
Yeah.
So, and then we made some changes in here. Like again, these cars especially 67, 68, the interiors would have been one color. Oh, they're all black, all red, and I always found that was a bit much to go with, other than black, like a full colored interior.
Yeah.
So the two-tone on this kind of is reminiscent of the 69 pace car, where they went with the orange and black,
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
but went with the red and black to kind of match the colors of the car.
Yeah.
So, and then the Z28 stripes. So it was just kind of this is what I always liked with the Camaros, the different things I always found from the different models and things that appeal to me. I bought it, it was already painted, and it was actually being built originally as a drag car, and then it got passed around, and it was never really finished the way it should have been. So made a deal, and was it 16, 18 years ago, dropped it off and tore into it, and I knew pretty much exactly what I wanted to do with it the first time I saw it.
That's cool. That looks really cool. That looks
Thank
really
you.
Good. Wow.
So it's a 406 cubic inch small block drag motor. It was built by Alan Armstrong. So it's a 4-speed M21 Muncie. The front end's QA1 coilovers, disc brake conversion. Subframe connectors are welded into it. The rear subframe is reinforced posi. So everything has been upgraded and built. It's been detuned and geared for highway use. But I don't own a trailer, and I don't trailer my cars. I drive them wherever I go. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much what I wanted to do, is set it up as something I could get into, hit the key, and just go.
Yeah, well, this looks really clean.
Thank you.
Wow. So can we take a closer look at the interior?
Sure thing.
All right.
So with the car again, I consider it like a driver quality car.
Yeah.
Just keep it clean, keep it cool. And like I said, sometimes it's the cool little things that I find. If you look at the gauges for the speedo and the fuel gauge in this car, the white facings match the aftermarket gauges. And a lot of guys will ask, like, wow, you changed that. That was a $7 upgrade.
Oh, really?
It's actually just a sticker I found from a company down in the States, and those are the factory gauges. So you take the gauge clusters apart, you align those, and they go over top. But you look at it afterwards, and it looks like it's a really expensive set of custom gauges that match the factory originals. And it was this thing I found, and for $7, I said, I got nothing to lose. I ordered the kit and put it in, and it just worked out great. So,
that's cool.
So sometimes you don't have to put a whole bunch of money into it to come up with a cool idea.
Yeah. You got an eye for detail.
Thank you.
We've headed from the garage out to the shop. I'm going to get Woody to tell us about this beautiful wagon he has right here.
Okay, yeah, so this is actually Winnie's car. And it's a 1957 Chevy Nomad. So it is an actual California car. It was a highly optioned car, believe it or not, back in the day. It was a factory power steering, power brake, power seat, and power window car from new. So when we got it in 2019, it got shipped up and it was taken across, and the guy in Ottawa owned it. We got it off him, but I've got a copy of the original title, all the paperwork it came across the border with. So it actually was, I think we're the third or fourth owner of it. And talked to the original owner in California from the original title. And nice old fella. We got some more info on the car. So it had gone in, got some work done to it, and basically everything on the car was original except the block. The original 283 block is long gone. That's a 327 in it now. But everything on the engine, the carburetor and everything, is what came with the car. So along with doing some updates and adding the vintage air conditioning, we pulled the 2-speed power glide out. We put a automatic overdrive. Again, all just make it a far more drivable, enjoyable car.
This is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Tried to keep a little bit more of the originality of it. We did update, like I said, aftermarket steering wheel, some things on it, but I mean, it was just, everything about these things were pretty cool to begin with. There's not a whole lot you had to do to really improve on it, so.
Well, this is a very clean car.
Thank you. So yeah, and we get a lot of questions because they said it was, the Nomad was always a unique vehicle. I've always had a soft spot for Nomad. So when this came up, it was just one of those, it was hard to turn down. But they made just over, I think it was 6,000 of them. The exact numbers are kind of debated within the Nomad community. But for the 3 years, 55, 6, and 7, there was like maybe total of 18,000 cars built total.
So that's a pretty low number then,
It's a pretty low number, especially for a company like Chevrolet that was doing this. And considering like things like the roof skin with the ridges, the rear tailgate and stuff were specific to the Nomad. So that's a lot of money to spend on stampings to build such a low production car. And it was the most expensive car Chevrolet made other than the Corvette.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
That's cool.
So I think it was just one of those, it looked good in the showroom. It got people in the door. But if you were going in with your wife and kids, you bought the 4-door wagon for half the money, and it was a lot easier to get the kids and the groceries in and out of the back seat. But this just looked cool sitting in the showroom.
Oh, yeah.
And then you learn things. The Nomad, like the wagons, it actually came factory with a box frame.
Oh, really?
So where the regular 2 doors and hardtops and stuff had like a standard C frame, these actually from the factory had a box frame. Another cool thing that a lot of people don't realize too is that in 57, so this grill, or sorry, bumper, they call it a California bumper. And the reason they call it a California bumper is it's a one-piece bumper. If you look at most 57s, and this is all the 57s, they'll have a brake line here and on the other side, and they're a three-piece unit.
Oh, really?
California had a rule back in the day of you couldn't have a multi-piece bumper on it. So it was just, the states had a lot of different rules for each state for different things on cars. In California in 55 or 57, that was one of them. So they developed a one-piece bumper to meet California regulations.
Yeah, that's cool.
But what people don't realize is because they made the bumpers and instead of just using it in one state, they were used in California, but they're also the ones sold on Canadian cars.
Oh, really?
So a one-piece bumper, even though it's known as a California bumper, is either a California car or it was a car from Canada.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
And it's the little hiccups, I call them, about the cars and some of the ways things came about that I find really interesting when you get into the history of how a lot of this stuff came out.
Yeah. Can we take a closer look at the interior?
Absolutely.
What are these called again?
Just the inner door.
Yeah, they look very clean. A lot of cars will have a lot of rust, right?
Well, rust, or you'll get overspray, or they just won't quite finish the insides of the door sills. Because again, they're drivers. So, I mean, some people just, it's a lot of extra work to actually do some of the insides and some of these areas on cars.
Yeah. This looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Lots of chrome too.
Yeah, well, that was it. It was the jet age, so everything had that. Had to make it look like it was a jet aircraft going 150 miles an hour, and chrome was king. Well, that was a cool thing. I said, nowadays I always tell people, I said, people can treat cars like it's appliance now.
Yeah.
Where back in the day, I said, year to year, they changed the look, and it was an event to see what the new cars look like.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can have a 10-year run and you can't tell the difference from one year to another what the cars are.
Yeah.
So, and this is a House of Color paint, and it's a teal over a gold base, but it was a factory blue car. So it would have been similar to this, but just not quite this fancy. But this, it was a blue car when it was built.
Yeah, you can't really see the gold in the camera here.
No, it actually comes across more of a teal with the blue base over it. So, and it was actually, because the car was painted when I bought it. It took us quite a while to actually narrow down what the paint code was on it. So, I actually worked with the guys at House of Color, and because we kind of narrowed it down, we figured that it was one of their colors. And then we actually did find and match it to
that's cool.
to the paint codes.
Yeah.
So again, it does help to have some friends in the industry that'll you can do that with.
Yeah.
It was one of those, every time we take it out, people would be like, "Oh, I love the color. What color is it?" And I'd be like, "It's blue." And that bothered me not knowing what it was.
Yeah. Well, you can't really see the teal in the camera here. It looks very blue.
It does, yeah. It's very deceptive. This car, when you do take any pictures of it or anything, it's very the blue really comes out of it.
Yeah.
And then once you get it out in the sunshine and see it in real life, then we parked it. A friend of mine has a 57 two-door hardtop.
Yeah.
And it's blue. And if you look at them, if they're at a show and they're at one side of the show and one's at the other side of the show, it's like, oh, they're almost the same color.
Yeah.
Then you park them side by side and it's like, wow, they're nowhere near the same color.
Thank you for having us over. Thank you for taking us for a tour of your beautiful shops. I really appreciate it. Make sure to check out Winnieslist, and you can see all the up-to-date car show listings, and make sure to follow her on Facebook. I'll leave a link in the description. And I'd like to thank you again, Woody.